Y'all must have forgot Roy Jones Jr. If you forgot, he's going to remind you exactly who he was in his prime, and still who he is now. And Wladamir Klitschko is learning that right now, exactly who Roy Jones is. Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, you find a way to lose. So look, man, Wladamir Klitschko, he's under a lot of pressure, man, out there and seeing everything that's happened to his country. And he's heavily immersed in politics, okay? And we understand what's going on out there is serious. It's unfortunate. War is not good for either side. And it's really not good for those innocent citizens of both countries, no matter what country's involved, okay? It's just one of those extremes that you like to see avoided. But unfortunately, in this case, it wasn't avoided, okay? But Wladamir Klitschko has some choice words for Roy Jones Jr. And Roy Jones Jr. Took exception to Klitschko's criticism. And he was wondering why he would target him. Now, if you don't understand why Roy Jones was singled out by Wladamir Klitschko in the Hall of Fame speech that he gave, I'm going to go ahead and explain it to you, okay? But let me just give you a little background. So there was a video that, Klitschko put out to address the attendees at the Hall of Fame ceremony in Verona, New York. And the Ukrainian heavyweight expressed his gratitude for his induction to the hallowed precincts of the organization. Klitschko was not able to make it to the proceedings in person because he, along with his heavyweight brother Vitaly, is currently in his native country, helping defend his people against the Russian invasion. This has been going on for a while now. But Klitschko, who joined nearly 40 inductees across 3 classes over the weekend, also questioned the moral compass of Jones, another fellow inductee, for what he feels is Jones' complicitous behavior with the enemy. Now, some of you are familiar that Roy Jones was training amateurs in Russia, and Jones had been granted citizenship several years ago. So that's what Klitschko was kind of talking about. But he goes on to say that he's super happy to be able to address all of you. He says, well, almost all of you. There's one person for whom I have a real question. One person broke Ukrainian law by going to the occupied peninsula of Crimea through Russian territory. That person's Roy Jones. Now, then he goes to say, so Roy, whose side are you on? On the side of the aggressor, on the side of the defender of its right to live? I respect you as a fighter, but I really question your moral compass. Now, this is the thing. Roy Jones doesn't have anything to do with no damn politics. You know what I'm saying? If he's agreed to train or be involved in the amateur program in Russia, that's what he's agreed to. I don't think it's right to target Roy Jones Jr., especially in the way he did with that video, and that was shown during that event. I just don't think that was wise. But I understand. I just don't agree. Okay. But the thing is this, Roy Jones, at one point in his career, was regarded as the pound-for-pound best fighter in the 90s. And then he became a Russian citizen in 2015. Jones has studied the country's large community of boxers and the fact that he is beloved there as reasons he chose to become an official citizen. I remember him saying this when people were asking about him being granted citizenship in Russia. Okay? In order to obtain citizenship, Jones met with the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, in the pro-Russian Ukrainian territory of Crimea, which was annexed by Russia in 2014. I remember all that. If you're a boxing fan, you should remember when all that happened too, because it was a pretty big deal. And it was like, damn, what the hell is Roy doing in Russia? He even went over there and fought in Russia and got knocked out. But it didn't affect how people view him. They love him in Russia. And I didn't realize he had that much love over there. But they love Roy Jones in Russia. So Roy goes on to say there's a lot of people still talking crazy. This is what he said during an interview with Ellie Sekbeck. He said, Klitschko trying to throw me into the political world, and I have nothing to do with politics. I'm like, look, I don't know what you're talking about with the politics, but if you want to fight, you can call me. So right there, Roy Jones is, calling out Klitschko for a fight. He's like, enough with the calling me out for politics and going back and forth. Y'all must have forgot. I fight. That's what I do. So if you got an issue with me, we can settle it in the ring. Now, I think Wladamir Klitschko would definitely take him up on that and would whip Jones' ass. But that's not something that's even thinkable at this moment in time. But I can understand Jones kind of lashing out like that because, Klitschko did put him in an awkward position. He did, he made it seem like Roy Jones was doing something wrong, which I don't think Roy Jones is doing anything wrong. But Jones did go on, right? And this is where you got to respect Roy Jones. He made it clear that he doesn't support the war going on in Ukraine. He explained that Lomachenko, the 3-division Ukraine titleist, who is currently enlisted with his country's military, because, he's out there defending his country, is one of his favorite boxers. At the same time, Jones said he does not believe in antagonizing Russia. When he has so many young boxers there, he's charged with rearing. And that's the thing. He has a job to do. He's contracted. He can't just turn his back on everybody and say, I'm not being involved with that. I mean, that's not his place to get involved with that, with the politics. He didn't become a Russian citizen to take up arms and go defend Russia. He's there trying to help innocent athletes who are being affected by the war too, because a lot of the people in Russia, they don't want that war. You know what I mean? They don't want that. So Jones, again, he's like, why would you target me? I have nothing to do with that. I have people on both sides. I don't want to see nobody at war because Lomachenko is one of my favorites. You think I want to see him at war with Russia? I've got 25 kids I train in Russia. Amateur kids that have nothing to do with none of that. I feel for those kids too. I don't want to see nobody at war. You're not the only person having a problem. Don't be trying to throw me in it because I don't know why they're putting me on the blacklist for going to Crimea. I didn't even understand that in 2015. Jones questioned Klitschko's grievance and once again suggested they use their fists to settle the quandary. Because I do boxing. You want this heat? You can come get that, Jones said. Other than that, I don't want to hear what you're talking about. And I agree with Roy Jones Jr. I do, man. It is what it is, man. It's not Roy Jones' fault what's going on out there. And what's happening out there is so unfortunate, man. But Wladamir Klitschko to me, he was wrong to come in target Roy like that. Roy has nothing to do with that. So if you got somebody who's not speaking on the war, you're gonna sit there now and have an issue with them because they're not saying what you feel they should be saying. Hey, man, everybody, it doesn't matter if you agree with them or not. Okay, you can understand why Roy Jones is taking the position he's taking. You see, I can understand. And I also, I don't agree with Klitschko, but I understand. I understand why he's saying what he's saying. I don't agree, but as long as we can understand what's going on, that kind of minimizes the impact, you know what I'm saying? But Roy Jones have nothing to do with that shit. He need to chill out. But I'd be very interested to know if when this stuff hopefully settles sooner than later, if Klitschko is going to come back full circle and say, hey, Roy, let's get that boxing match going. And let's see if Roy Jones takes him up on it. But hopefully they can just just kind of brush that off and just leave it alone because situation's already bad. We don't need any additional, chaos and poor choices being made by anyone, especially when emotions get involved. So I'll leave it as that, man. Shout out to all the veterans. You guys keep safe. Thanks for the support. Like and subscribe. Roy Jones will let you know. Y'all must have forgot because he works with his hands. And if you want some of this, Roy Jones, come and get this heat. Anyway, man, I'm in the breeze.